Morning everyone, how you guys doing? It's Johnny Eliades here, Power Up 365. Today I'm going to speak to you about business and risk. So the one thing is you got to understand that they both go together. I've had a lot of times I've reached out to you guys where I speak to you guys about risk. You know, studies have shown that 9 out of 10 businesses will fail in the first 6 months, and after that they will fail in the next 5 years. And the other thing is people don't understand. Just because your business didn't fail doesn't mean it was profitable. So that is another thing that people are not understanding. That businesses might survive, but they are unprofitable. So you can't just build a business just to pay the bills. I mean, then why would you go to all that risk? Because business is risk. There's no way about it. Business is risk, okay? But you've got to do a lot of things to hedge your risk. That is why I believe people should be educated. Before they go into business, they should be educated. Why do you think all the great people are getting trained and coached all the time? They're getting educated. And you need to be able to say, you need to know that when you're getting educated, there are a few things that are critical. One is sales. If you can't sell, you can't have a business. Don't even try and open a business if you have the mindset that I can't sell, okay? Or I don't want to sell. That is a bad way to start a business, because if you can't sell, you know, I'm a chartered accountant, so we do one of my companies that I own, we do people's books. But if you can't sell, there's nothing to do. So we first have to look at the turnover, look at the cash came in, look at the money, look at that. So although it's very important, you got to know your numbers, you got to get your foundations right, you got to know all that stuff. But if there is no sales, there is no business, okay? So one thing is you got to know how to sell. But what I want to speak to you about today is risk. You know, risk, how do you limit risk? Is education. You got to educate yourself. You got to read books. You got to go to seminars. You got to go to. Most people who complain about money, if you ask them what books do they have on their shelves, they've got books maybe that are love stories or books that are actions or whatever, but they have no finance books. Because people that are focused on finance will keep on learning about finance. They keep on learning about tax. They keep on learning about risk. They keep on learning about how to set up businesses. They look at the great people. Like, if you want to learn how to invest, you should have a book of Warren Buffett. If you want personal development, Tony Robbins, leadership, John Maxwell, sales, Blair Singer. There's so many guys out there that books you got to read. My library is full of books because I make it an intention that I must read at least 4 books a month. If it's on leadership, it's anything that I teach, I want to read on books because I want to always be growing so that I can serve the people and grow the people that come to my events and seminars. So what about risk? If you ask rich people and they go into a business, you always got to do, you know, some people, I think it was Warren Buffett who says there's 2 great rules. Protect your money. Second rule, protect your money. So you always got to protect your money. But now, how do you protect your money if you have to invest money and business is a risk on its own? So I go into something called business, and business is a risk on its own. And this business asks me to invest money. So I'll have to pay rent. I have to save a lease contract. You have to buy a printer. You have to pay salaries. You have to do all that stuff. So what is the best way that you can go into business? So you got to understand the risk of a business. You're not going to avoid not putting cash into a business. You're not going to avoid of not borrowing money into business. And that thing that you shouldn't borrow money, I mean, how will you get started? If you have a dream, if you have a vision, if you want a business and you don't have money, how will you get started? And I don't believe that money makes money. So the only thing that you need to do is you need to be able to sell to raise capital. That's what you need to do. You need to be able to sell to raise capital. And you need to understand the needs of the person that's investing to you. And you need to deliver to your investors. So if people are willing to invest in you, you need to deliver. That is, then the more you deliver, the more confidence they have in you. And the more confidence they have in you, the more money they're going to get you. And that's how you got to start a business. Now, when you're going into a business, you got to think big, right? You got to think big. Don't start in a business just to pay the bills. It takes the same energy on how to get into a business. It's the same energy on how to get into a business that is small and how to get into a business that's big. So you got to ask yourself, the product or service that I'm going into, how big can it be? What market can I serve? Is it possible? And don't mislead yourself. Don't fool yourself. I call that wishful business. Wishful business. It's going to take over the market. It's going to conquer the world and that. How do you know that? How do you know that? What research have you done? Well, how are you putting yourself in that position of certainty? Okay? Because if you want to go into business, there comes a time you've done your research, you've done your numbers, you've done that, but then you've got to get to ultimate certainty that this will work, ultimate certainty that you will win, ultimate certainty. When you wake up and go into the business, there must be no doubt that you are not going to make it. You've got to be certain that you are going to make it. That's it. You've got to be certain that you will make that business work. If you don't have certainty and you're going to a business and you're going into a sale and you don't believe in your product, you don't believe in your service, you're dead. You're dead because you're competing against everyone else. When I come in and say to you, come to my event, I'm certain that I'm going to change your life. I'm certain that I'm going to make a difference. When I say buy my book, I'm certain that that book will change your life. That book will help you. And my certainty comes at the beginning because it's something that happened to me. So that's why I believe people need to be authentic. If you're not authentic in business, you're ripping people off. You're ripping people off. If you don't really believe in what you're doing does serve and help people, then you are ripping people off. Let me tell you, I keep saying serve and help people because where does money come from? Money comes from other people. And the only reason people will release their money to you, is if you help them, you serve them, you make their life easier, more convenient. You solve a problem. You solve a problem. That is how they're going to make your life easier, if you solve their problem. So you got to understand risk. You got to understand what you're going into business. You got to understand sales. You got to understand, therefore, you got to understand education. All these things that I'm sharing with you is education. I'm educating you. I'm sharing you my experience. Not because I'm so good, it's because I've experienced and I've screwed up. So if I screwed up so long, that's why I don't believe in failure. If you keep failing so much, you understand, listen, I failed. What did I learn from that failure? And now you share it. You learn from a person who has failed, because let me tell you, you'll learn much more from a person who's failed than a person who's just succeeded. But a person who's never failed is playing a small game. Someone who opened a business because his parents gave it to him and he's been working in that business from 9 years old. He's just doing the same thing over and over. But as soon as a recession hits, as soon as difficult time hits, because he hasn't been trained in those areas, unless his parents were putting him in a difficult situation. So you've got to, and education, and then you've got to understand, what do I mean by risk? Risk, especially in South Africa's economy, you can't protect your name anymore. You've got to protect your assets. Now, a lot of people are against me when I say you've got to set up trusts and you've got to set up companies, you've got to operate in companies, and you've got to make the shares belong to your trust. And especially now with these tax rates, a lot of people are against me because they say, listen, the tax rates now of a trust is high. The dividends tax has gone up to 20%. It was 10% and went to 15%. Now it's gone up to 20%. The tax rate for the rich has gone up. But if you're working your business just for the tax man, now don't get me wrong, you got to do tax planning. You can't be giving away your money. You got to be planning and knowing when you're going to make money, because you got to play your business to be a big business, right? So when you make money, you got to get some tax. You got to do some tax planning. You got to understand, what is the tax of this entity? How am I going to distribute my money? How am I going to get my money out? What are the capital outlays? What am I going to do? You got to know all the tax planning. I'm not saying that's why I've never stopped my accounting firm. Because I want to know my numbers, I want to be up to date with tax, and I want to know that no one is taking my money. I actually have a saying every single morning now that I wake up. I say, who's got my money? Who's got my money? What does that mean? Who's got my money? Whoever's got my money is someone that I can solve a problem. So I'm asking myself, who's got my money? Who can I go solve a problem with because they've got my money? I don't want to go solve a problem with someone who doesn't have money because I want to make money. This is business now. I'm speaking to you about business. If margin serves a mission. I'm not here to play around. I'm not here to not make money. I'm here to make money. That's what I'm here for. So I want to share this thing with you guys. I want you guys to go out. You've got to look at companies. You've got to look at trusts. You've got to understand why is a trust there. You've got to understand why the companies. Why? Because you can't protect your name anymore. So you've got to learn to start protecting your assets. It doesn't help that I saved so much tax, and when a tough time comes, because tough times will come, when you are in a bad situation, that means they come and they take all your assets, all your hard work. They come to your home, they take your home, they take your car, and all that, because you have not protected your assets. You've protected you went for tax planning only to save money, but you never went to protect your assets. Please, guys, look at risk. Get educated in your businesses. Get a vision. Get purpose. All these things that I teach in the Johnny Eliades Business Academy. So, because we want to build great businesses, but we need to understand risk. And you can't avoid risk. You got to embrace risk. You got to go for it. You got to be certain. You got to go for it. Put your money down and make sure that you're going to make a great success of it. Okay, guys? This is Johnny Eliades now, how to build your business and how to avoid risk as much as possible. Thank you very much. Live with greatness, and I will see you guys at the top.